Hey, it's Daily Learn with Jared. Today we're going to take a look at my iPad Pro M2 and how I am the most productive utilizing this device. I think that we need to make sure that the devices we bring into our life provide value. And if I'm not getting any productivity out of this device, then it's not really useful. And since the iPad Pro first came out, that is really when the iPad started to become that for me, something that I could be productive on. So I'm going to talk about some software that I utilize on this device so that I could be the most productive. And this is typically my setup when I am utilizing my iPad Pro at home or in my office. I have a little stand that rotates around, and I can also rotate the iPad into a portrait landscape mode, just rotate it any angle I would like. I've got a keyboard and a mouse that I utilize with it. And what's nice about this keyboard and mouse is that it's the same one that I use with my computer, and I can switch between different Bluetooth channels and connect to different devices. And so it's very nice to have a setup that I can move between my computer or I can grab and start utilizing with my iPad. And I'll link to these accessories in the description below so you can check them out if you would like. So with the iPad, the number one app that I spend a lot of my time in is Notion. Notion is a tool that allows you to build out your own tools for productivity and organization. Notion became really popular in the sense that people started creating their own productivity systems within this tool, and that's what drew me to it. In 2019, I installed Notion and started building out my own tools for organizing my life. And that led me to creating a bunch of free templates and also a course on how to use Notion as well, which a lot of people have taken and enjoyed. So I'll link to that stuff down below. If you're interested in some of these tools that I talk about as we look at Notion or that course, there's links to that stuff down in the description. The first spot that I jump into is my dashboard. Now, this dashboard is always changing. Right now it has my tasks and interactions. And so I can toggle between tasks that I have due that have a due date of today or in the next couple of days. And then I also have interactions in here as well. And these are pulled in from my calendar. So my calendar automatically syncs and I can access those here. And all of these things connect. The reason that I love Notion is that the way that I like to explain it, it's like a spreadsheet where you can have all of your information organized nice and you can sort it and you can manipulate that data, but it's not just a flat spreadsheet. You can actually go deeper. So every line item in the spreadsheet can have its own page, which kind of reminds me of something like Evernote or OneNote, an application where you would use for taking notes. So I can have both the information and the context within one line item, which is absolutely great. And I can connect these as well. So my tasks can be connected to projects. My projects can be connected to clients, and all of that can be connected to a calendar as well. And so it makes it very easy for me to see a lot of data about something specific. And this works out really well for me as a business owner. I could be using a CRM, but if I was using a CRM, I might be missing out on a good project manager. And that project manager might not have a good task manager. And so for me, it's really important to have control over how I can manipulate my data. And so I built that out in Notion. And so I have my tasks right here. I've got daily log right here, which is where I would go and enter in maybe something that I was reading, a lunch that I had with a friend or something like that. And then I have my fitness tracker down below, as during the month of January 2023, I'm getting into running. I've never been a runner, but I want to track this information so that I can see how I'm doing and how I'm progressing. So for me, this dashboard is constantly changing. It's why it's not very pretty. It's just information. But I also have kind of what I call Jar OS, which is Jared Operating System, and it has access to all of the pages and databases and some linked information that's displayed that's like my dashboard where I come for everything. So this is where I go to get access to all of the information that I have stored in here. I mean, I log my flights because I have my private pilot's license, and so I log them in Notion. I have an assets manager where, like, if I buy a new camera, all the information about that camera goes into my assets manager. I manage my expenses in here. There's so much stuff that I manage within Notion, and it's great to have one tool where all of this information can be stored. And so Notion is a productivity tool for me. As far as organizing videos, as I put out all of these videos, I have my content database. And so you can see all the videos that I've put out and videos that I have coming up. Not only is this like a calendar that shows me where that content is going to be published and its status, but I also have information about that as well. This video, which will likely come out the first couple days of February, has my little list of applications that I'm going to talk about in this video. And then I can change the status of this video as it's done, and I can go into the editing process, and then I can go into the publishing process as well. What's great about this is that there are so many different ways to view data. This calendar is no different than the spreadsheet look that my task manager has. And so all of this data can be viewed in different ways based on what makes the most sense. And that's what I like about Notion. Notion's a great application. I've got lots of templates for task manager, project managers, journals, daily logs, all sorts of stuff. If you want some good starting points, use the link down in the description below to get access to those. Now, for the last couple of years, I've been jumping between different task managers. These are basically to-do applications. And I know I just got done talking about having a task manager in Notion, but the reason that I like to use a task manager, a to-do app, is because of the simplicity of getting information into it and the way that these applications often work with others. One of the reasons I liked using Todoist is because it was just so simple to get information in there. It had nice widgets for my phone. It was just a really simple process. I moved over to TickTick and was using TickTick because I liked how they kind of gamified and had these nice graphs and all of this stuff within TickTick, and also habit trackers and stuff like that. However, I found myself getting kind of bogged down by TickTick. And when I made the switch from Google Workspace over to Microsoft 365, I thought I would give Microsoft To Do a try. And I absolutely love the simplicity of this to-do list manager because it has some of the features that I want without having too many features that ends up bogging me down. So as I'm using Microsoft To Do, I love the fact that I can have unlimited amount of lists over here, which essentially I've created just different areas of my life, whether it be my tasks or stuff from home for work, client-specific tasks, stuff for daily learn, or content. I could put tasks and to-do items within these different lists and then see all of these here displayed under my day, the things that I have to do for my day. One of the biggest features, though, that I absolutely love about this application is how it integrates with Outlook, and we'll talk about that in a second. But you might be thinking, well, Jared, you're putting your tasks, your to-do items in here, and then you have to go and manually put them into Notion. Well, no, I don't, because this connects to Notion utilizing Zapier. Zapier is a great tool that makes it easy for you to connect to different applications together. And so when I enter a task into the To-Do app that is for a client, it goes into, of course, the client tasks list, and then that tells Zapier to take that and automatically add it to Notion. So I save a step. I don't have to do that. All I have to do is go over to Notion and check off that it's been complete and make sure it's connected to the appropriate client. Very simple to do. And the reason that I do that is because I want those tasks in Notion to be connected to projects, and I want those projects to be connected to the client. That's something that I can't do in a to-do app, but I like the simplicity of a to-do app because I don't want to get bogged down during my day. I don't want to go into Notion and see some other tasks that I might think, oh, I'm kind of feeling like procrastinating right now. I'm going to go work on those instead. No, I want things to be as simple as possible so that I don't get distracted and end up procrastinating. And having all of my tasks in something simple like this to-do app from Microsoft is making that possible. Let's take a look at Outlook. Now, I used to despise Outlook because Outlook was a feature-packed application, but it was kind of a mess. But Outlook has gotten to be so good, and it's really great on the iPad as an email application. And not only that, but as an application that ties in with the To-Do app. So for example, if I was looking at an email, like if I had this email here from Udemy that's showing me how many students I have in the different courses that I have over on Udemy, I wanted to save this, I needed to respond to this email, I could click right here and go to create a task. And then you can see down here, I have my task. It's putting the subject line as the task. And so I can add something here like follow up on this. and then hit return, and it's going to go ahead and add it to my to-do list. I used to utilize a couple of different applications to make this happen in the past, and each of those required a subscription fee. It's probably costing me around $8 to $10 a month just so that I can use tools that would make it so that I can do what I just did here in a couple of seconds, utilizing the software that comes with Microsoft 365. So now if I go over to my To-Do app, and I just wait a second as it updates, up there it is, and I click under tasks, you can see here's the task, and if I click on that, I have a direct link to open an Outlook. And it also includes a little bit of the first part of the email in here and who it was from. And this is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, I had to use a couple of different pieces of software to make this happen. If I click open in Outlook, it opens up the email and boom, I have it right there. So Outlook also is just a really clean application that has an area for your focused emails, which typically are emails that you want to receive. And then the other section, which is often marketing emails and stuff like that. So absolutely fantastic. Outlook is great. And then of course it has the calendar built in and integrated. So I don't need a separate application for calendar because it's right here built into the app. Makes it very easy for me to see everything that's in my calendar. So Outlook is a great application. It's gotten so good. And on the iPad, it helps me be more productive. Now, even though in the past I've used a variety of different cloud tools for storage, Dropbox has been the one that has stood the test of time. I love utilizing it on the iPad because this information, everything that's in Dropbox, syncs on my computer and also is available on my iPhone, so I can access everything all the time. Of course, there's iCloud. We could be using iCloud, but the problem with iCloud is that there's a very limited amount of storage that you could pay for, and you end up running out of space. And so if you need to sync a lot of files or have access to a lot of files, then you're going to run into problems. iCloud, I guess it works okay because the amount of storage that you might have on your device is about as much as you could get in iCloud storage, and so you're storing and backing up things that are on your device. And I use iCloud to back up some of the local files on all of my devices, but I don't use it for larger files because there just isn't enough room in iCloud. In my Dropbox account, I probably have over 40 terabytes of stored data, which I need to go and do some spring cleaning for sure, but I have access to everything, all the client files, all the assets, all the videos. If we click on files here, you can see I can go into projects, I can go into daily learn, I can go under YouTube and then tech, which is this channel, and media, and then I can go under 2023, and I have access to all of the videos that I have filmed this year and I have ready to go out or have gone out already. And if there's information that I need, maybe perhaps I want the thumbnail image for the video to share to social media. Boom, it's right in there. I can click and it's probably in here somewhere under one of these files. And I also have access to the original video file and any other assets for that video. Those are all things that if I wanted to work on those while I was on the iPad, I'd have to copy them from my computer to my iPad somehow, airdrop them or something like that, and then I'd end up with copies, multiple copies in different places. Utilizing Dropbox just keeps all of that really simple. And of course, I can utilize Dropbox to back up the camera roll on this device and also other files. And it works in conjunction with the Files app as well. So if I come in here to the Files app, you can see I've got Dropbox right here, and I've got all of the same folders. And so Dropbox works with the Files app within iPad OS, and that makes it really easy for me to sync over files and utilize files that when I make updates to them here on the iPad and then go back to my computer, those updates will have synced across all of my devices because it's syncing across the cloud utilizing Dropbox. Now, I've also switched over to Edge browser, which is from Microsoft, but it's actually built on Google Chromium's platform. And so it works a lot like Google Chrome and has a lot of the Google Chrome features, but Microsoft has added in some really interesting features within this tool, and I absolutely love it. Not only is it a great browser, just simple multi-tab browser like you're used to, but it has this tool called Collections. And Collections are the killer feature for me with Microsoft Edge browser on the iPad, because these collections are like groupings of bookmarks. Yeah, you can achieve collections by creating bookmark folders and all of that stuff, but it's kind of a clunky process. Like, nothing has changed about the bookmarks in decades. And so Collections is a great way of having groupings of bookmarks, and I will create collections based on different projects and things that I'm working on. So if I'm working on something for a client, I will create a collection that has maybe, the project itself that I'm working on, some different websites that have some research or something that I need for the project. And it's very easy for me to come to my iPad, having just come from my computer, and have all of that information here. So if I open up my main collection, you can see I've got some different websites here that I can easily click on and open up in another tab. I can open up all of these as well, and I could just, simply close this little bar if I want to get rid of it. But the collections are great because it keeps me organized, and I don't just have like a massive row of tabs open all the time anymore. I'll open a collection and work on something, and then I'll close that collection and I'll open up another one. And that keeps me from having so many tabs open to where I end up having so many open that I can't even tell which tab goes to what anymore. And so this has helped me become more productive because I can jump into, maybe I'm working on the Daily Learn app, which hopefully will be coming out in the next 30 days or so, or I'm working on a project for a client. I can easily jump into all of those tabs that I had on my previous device because it's syncing them across all of my devices, even my phone, and it's just fantastic. So collections are great, and it makes it easy for me to just one click and open up one of these, or of course I can open up all of them, and it's even better on the computer. You'll definitely want to check out the video that I put out on Is Edge Browser the best browser for the Mac, because there's some super cool features about using Microsoft Edge on a Mac. Now, I also find myself more productive editing podcasts on an iPad as well. And you might not be a podcast editor or have anything to do with podcasts, but this is an example of how there are several applications that just seem to be cleaner and easier to use on an iPad than on a computer. When I'm on the iPad and I'm editing a podcast and I have the audio file here, I can chop up these audio files and move things around really easily, making adjustments to them, whether utilizing my finger or perhaps like an Apple Pencil, or this is an aftermarket Apple Pencil from Binks. And so a great little tool, a third of the price of an Apple Pencil here. And I found very little difference between this pencil and the Apple Pencil, but I can really easily edit a podcast here and export it into Dropbox, or even upload it directly to the podcast tool that I use for producing that podcast. It's very simple. I don't get lost. There isn't too many features like utilizing an application that can do a lot more things, like Logic on the Mac can do amazing things, but editing a podcast sometimes can get a little overwhelming in there because there's so many tools and features and things. In Ferrite, I can really easily just get my podcast edited, add a few filters, chop up some pieces where I need to, and then export it, and it's ready to go. A lot of times you can find iPad software that is just cleaner and easier to use than what you would find on a computer, which is why I'm including that in this section. So while you might not edit podcasts, it's likely that something that you do often, there might be an app for it on the iPad that is just a better overall experience to help you stay productive. Grammarly is an application that I use on my iPad to do most of my writing. Whether I'm writing an email and I just want to make sure that that email is nice and tight and sounds professional, I'm writing a blog or an article, or sometimes even a description for a social media post or a caption, I like to use Grammarly. Now, Grammarly on the iPad is a standalone app that makes it really easy for you to write, and it will help you choose other words. It will rewrite a sentence for you if it thinks it can make it better, and it will for sure help with your punctuation. And Grammarly is a great tool for that. It's also a browser extension on your computer, so you can utilize it while you're writing in different web services, web apps, and stuff like that. And a lot of times it's going to integrate with different software that you use as well, like Microsoft Word, Outlook, and stuff like that. So if you want to make sure that you have great grammar and spelling and all of that good stuff in your writing, Grammarly is a tool well worth having. And I love the standalone app on the iPad because I can just write in Grammarly. Grammarly is also available as a keyboard that you can install on your iPad or even on your phone so that you're getting those recommendations on different words and spelling and stuff like that as you're tapping them out with your thumbs. I really love this application on the iPad because it's a standalone app that allows me to write, and it helps me write better, finding better clarity, correcting my words, and all of that good stuff. Right here it says engagement, a bit bland. So I probably need to liven up this a little bit, and I can change out how I want this to come about and how I want this to feel as far as an article goes. And so I like that because it's thinking for me. I can get this as close to perfect as possible before actually publishing it out to the world. So the last application we're going to look at is Adobe Lightroom, which I spend a lot of my time in. And if you've ever edited photos or you do any photo editing, Adobe Lightroom's a great option because on the iPad, it's a beautiful, powerful application that works just as good as the desktop variant. However, on the iPad, distraction-free, and it's also optimized for touch. And so we've got all of these toggles and bars over here, sliders that we can adjust and make our adjustments, whether we're using our fingertip, whether we're using an Apple Pencil, or we're using a connected mouse. And I love editing on the iPad because it's so much more distraction-free. I simply take the SD card out of my camera and using a dongle, connect it to the iPad, and then I'm able to copy my images over and start editing. So the process is just fantastic. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for checking it out. I hope that you found something that would help you be a little bit more productive using your iPad. As it is an expensive device, we need to make sure that we're utilizing it to its fullest. So if you want more iPad-related information, including my Kickstart guide, make sure to check out the link in the description below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and thanks for subscribing ahead of time. We'll see you in the next one.